Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to do some demos for the Smoke palette from Kat Von D. And I know a lot of you are picking these up from Marshall's right now for $10, which is an amazing deal. If you have never used the Kat Von D formula before, it's one of my absolute favorite formulas. I also picked up the Plum, the Sage, and the Rust, and these are the first three that I got from Marshall's. Unfortunately, I was not able to find the Smoke one, and so I had to go to Sephora and purchase this. So while these were $10 each, which is a great buy, this was $15, but well worth it. It's a beautiful, beautiful quad, and I am going to do some demos on it today. I'm not going to call it a tutorial because I'm not a makeup artist. So when you get this quad, it comes with one eye look for it, but it's such an amazing formula that I wanted to use it for more than just this eye look. So I'm going to do 3 to 4 different eye looks on this, just to kind of get your creative juices going and make you realize that you don't have to follow the little tutorial that they include in the quad. You can come up with some pretty amazing looks that deviate from this. So the first look that I'm going to do today is a gradient look, and what I'm going to do is use, this is called base, and so I'm going to use the base color on my inner corner, and then I'm going to use the second darkest shade on my middle lid, and then I'll use the darkest shade on my outer corner. And then you can either use the base or you can use the contour shade to put in your crease. The first thing I'm going to do is put on my Urban Decay primer. And you can use whatever primer you want that works best for you. And I'm just going to spread that evenly all over my lid, rub it in. Now, depending on your coloring, you're either going to pick the highlighter shade or the base shade. The highlighter shade, if you are medium light to fair or porcelain, this is what you're going to use all over your eyelid to set your primer. And then if you are a medium skin tone to a deep skin tone, you would use your base shade to just set that primer. So that's the first thing that I'm going to do. And I'm just taking one of my large shader brushes. It's just an inexpensive Coastal Scents brush. And I'm going to just shade from my lash line to my eyebrow. That's going to set my primer, and it's going to make blending so much easier. Next, I'm going to go in with my base shade, and I'm going to put that on my inner corner. And what we're going to do here is get a pretty gradient effect, so I don't want to go too crazy with the pigmentation. So I'm just going to shade it enough for that color to show up in my inner corner of my lid. Basically, it's the first 1/3 of your eyelid towards the inner corner. Okay, and I don't know if you all have seen these before, but oh my gosh, you need to get one. There's different brands of this, and this allows you to use the same brush over and over again. And so I get pigmentation on my brush, and then I just rub it off on here, and it takes off all of the pigmentation. I use these like crazy. They don't affect the quality of my brush. I highly recommend them. And there's different brands. This brand is, I got off Amazon. My daughter put a picture of Tinkerbell's friend on there. It's a sticker. So this is Color Cleaner. So this one's called Color Cleaner, and I can link it. I picked up one at Marshall's, and this one is called Clean Sweep. And I think this was like $7, and this was like $4. This one's purple. But if you don't have one of these and you love to do eye makeup looks, it will save you so much time. You also don't have to have a million different kinds of brushes so that you can have a clean one each time. So I highly recommend it. I use it daily. Oh, allergies, allergies, allergies. All right. For our second color, we're going to go into the contour shade. And we're going to put that on the contour shade on the middle of our lid. Okay, this is really interesting. This contour shade is actually a little bit lighter than the base shade, so this isn't going to be quite as much of a gradient effect, but I still think it's going to be really pretty. So the contour shade looks like it's a medium light shade, whereas the base would just be a straight medium shade. So you could reverse this. You could put your contour shade at the inner portion of your lid, and then you could put the base in the middle if you wanted. I still think this is really pretty, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. But I am going to get a little bit more pigmentation by using a little more product on the center of my lid, so that I can get a more defined gradient. I'm going to use just a pointed defining brush, and this is Royal Land Nickel too, but any pointed straight, sorry, I can't talk today. Any pointed shade, any pointed detail brush will work just fine, because we want to just very carefully put the darkest shade, which is this deep charcoal color. We want to put that shade in our outer corner. And we can put as much pigmentation as you want. You can go as deep as you want on that outer corner. Kind of gives it a smoky effect the deeper you go. And we're going to do some blending here in just a minute to try to get these colors to blend together seamlessly. Gradients don't tend to be as, you can't blend quite as much as you can when you're blending into your crease, but we will get the edges blended out somewhat so that they look nice. And always remember that if you make mistakes, I know that I tend to go, like you can see a mistake right here, and I will take I'll blend that out, but I'll also take concealer and kind of clean that up a little bit. So don't get too upset if you make a lot of mistakes. So next I want a small blending brush. So I'm going to use my Dazzling crease brush that I got in a Christmas set, but you can use just any little bit smaller blending brush. And I'm just going to blend those edges out and soften that as much as I can. It's not going to soften 100%. You're going to still see a little bit of a line there, but that's part of the gradient effect, so that's okay. And then I'm just going to blend that seam towards my inner eyelid. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to blend that seam between the crease shade and the darkest defining shade. And then I always clean it off in between just so I don't muddy up my colors. And I'm going to blend this seam. Alright, and just blend, blend, blend until you feel like that seam is looking good. So if you are a porcelain skin tone to a medium light, you could either use for your crease shade, your base shade, or your contour shade. If you are a deep skin tone to a medium skin tone, you could actually use this as a transition, the base shade if you wanted to, and then go in with the contour shade, which I think would be really pretty on a darker skin tone. So I'm just going to use this as the instructions tell you to, and I'm going to use the contour shade as my crease shade. So I'm using a flat blending brush because I want to make sure that the contour comes up above my crease, because with hooded eyes, if it doesn't come up above my crease, then you can't see it. It just gets lost inside of that fold from hooded eyes. So I'm going to dip into here, then I'm going to very gently just sweep that across my eye just to deposit that pigmentation, and then I'm going to start blending. Blend, blend, blend. And then next I'm going to take the highlighter shade and I'm going to put that underneath my brow. And I'm also going to take that around the corner here, just to kind of give a nice pretty dome shape to that crease shade. Okay, so you could stop here and you could put eyeliner on, and then you could put your mascara on and you'd be good to go. You don't, if you have hooded eyes like me, I'm not going to put any eyeliner on, because if I do, unfortunately, it just takes up all of my real estate on my lid and doesn't look that great. I am going to do one last shade. You can either take your base shade or your contour shade. I recommend using whatever you used on your crease. So I'm going to take the contour shade, and I'm just taking a small flat brush. I'm going to dip it in that contour shade, and I'm going to connect this dark inner lid with my lower lash line. And you could stop halfway right here if you wanted to do more of a subtle look, or you could go all the way to your inner corner of your eye. Just be sure that you connect it up here with that top eyeshadow. And then you can take a smudger brush like this one, and you can just smudge that out. Give it a nice soft line. Do you love how I open my mouth while I'm doing that? Why do we do that? Actually, I think I know why we do that. We do that because it opens up our eyes, so they're easier to get in there and apply products. Okay, there's your look. I'm gonna put some mascara on and call it good. I'm wearing Perversion by Urban Decay. I actually got this in an Ulta goodie bag that they sent that was free with purchase, and I love this mascara. I know there's a lot of YouTubers who praise this, and I agree with them. It is an amazing mascara. If you're wondering why it's a great mascara, it's because it lengthens your lashes and it plumps them minutely. Mainly, it just really lengthens and defines each lash. It does not get clumpy. I've been using this for a couple of weeks now, and the consistency of the formula hasn't changed. It does not get clumpy, and it continues to just really lengthen and define each lash. All right, here's your final look. I think it's very appropriate for work. I'd have no problem wearing this to work, and I work in a very conservative office with mostly men, and I think this would be fine. I'm gonna do a couple more looks after this. Okay, so the next look that I'm going to do is a super simple look. I'm going to keep it as simple as possible. It's one where you can put it on and get in and out the door as quickly as possible. It is work appropriate as well. And my eyes are primed. I'm going to go ahead and start with the highlighting shade. I'm going to take this shade and I'm going to use it to set my primer again. This is a spotlight look, so I'm actually just going to use two colors for this look. I'm going to take the contour shade and I'm going to shade the inner third of my lid. And you want to get some nice deep pigmentation in that inner third of the lid, because you want it to contrast nicely with the spotlight, which is the lighter shade that we are going to put in the center of our lid. So I'm going to actually go over this twice, really dip into that pan, that contour pan, and go over this twice. And if need be, after I'm done, I may even go over it a third time. Now I'm going to take that same contour shade and I'm going to do the outside third of my eye, and same thing, I want lots of deep color. So I'm going to dip into that pan several times and really work to get some nice pigmentation on that outer third of my lid. And if we decide later that we need even more pigmentation, then we can go back in that, no problem. So what I use to put on the contour shade, which is a pointed definer brush, it's that same Royal and Land Nickel. So next I'm going to use a flat packing brush, and I'm going to take that highlighting shade, that white shade, and I'm going to pack that on to the center of my lid. And you may have to dip in there several times because you really want that white color to pop against that contrasting color, that gray contrasting color. And you can see how I have dulled the edges there between that darker color and that lighter color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in and deepen that up again. And you can go back in and deepen that up as many times as you want. The more contrast, the better, in my opinion. The more that spotlight is going to stand out. Next, I'm going to take a blending brush. This is just an IT blending brush. And I'm going to very gently blend out that edge. And you want to do very small blending motions because you don't want to lose the integrity of that spotlight. And if you get too crazy with your blending, you're going to blend that gray color into your spotlight, that lighter color, and it's just not going to be very pretty. So you just want a very small blending motion. Okay. And then I'm going to go, like I said, I'm only using 2 colors this time. So I'm going to go back in with that crease color, that pretty gray color, and I'm going to put that in my crease. And I'm using another blending brush. It's a super fat blending brush. And again, that's because it helps to bring that crease color up above my crease because I have hooded eyes, and that way I can see that color above my crease, and it gives that illusion of depth that can be difficult to obtain with a hooded eye. So I'm going to dip into that crease color. I'm going to very lightly sweep it all the way across my crease just to deposit that color. And then I'm going to start blending. And just keep dipping into that crease shade and adding it to your crease until you reach the color that you want. You can go with a light hand so that you can just get a barely there gray crease color, or you can go in with a heavier hand so that you can get a more dramatic look. I'm doing about a medium right now. I've gone in about 3 times very, very lightly just to get a nice medium look. It's nothing too dark, but it still stands out. It's still pretty. Okay, now if you feel like you've lost the integrity of that spotlight, then just go ahead and dip back in. This is my flat brush. I'm just going to go ahead and dip back into that highlighter shade, and I'm just going to gently pat that on the center of my lid, and so I can make sure that sometimes when you're blending out, you can lose the integrity of your shadow. Just gets a little muddied, so you can go back in and just pat that on the center of your lid, and then that beautiful intensity comes back. And then the last thing that you want to do with this look, like I told you, it's a simple look, just 2 colors, but the last thing you want to do is just take your highlighter shade and put that underneath your brow bone to highlight your brow bone. I like to use a fat brush to do that. I know a lot of YouTubers use very detailed brushes, but I am going to use this to help round out that shape on my crease. So I'm actually bringing it into the inner corner as well. So that didn't take very long at all. I'm just going to put some mascara and call it done. I don't recommend using an eyeliner with this look because it's going to break up the continuity of that dark shade, light shade, dark shade, and if you put a dark shade all along your lash line, I think it just doesn't look as pretty, and that spotlight doesn't stand out as much. You may think differently. If you do, that's great. Put your eyeliner on, do a cat eye, do whatever you want. Personally, I'm not going to put anything on just because I just want to maintain that spotlight without breaking it up with a darker color. Okay, there is the final look. Although if you want to, you can do a lower lash line. So if you want, you can just dip this into your contour shade and then you can outline your bottom lash line. Just be sure to connect it to the eyeshadow on the outer corner. And this is your final look. Again, I would be fine wearing this to work. I don't think it's anything too crazy or out there. And I do work in a conservative environment, and I don't think this would be an issue at all to wear a look like this to work. So this is my next look, and I've gone ahead and put my primer on and I've set it with the highlighter. And honestly, this look is the whole reason that I bought this palette. So I'm gonna go through it step for step, and there's a little bit of a twist at the end. It has to do with another eyeshadow palette that I currently own and incorporating it with this palette, which is a cool gray palette. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that base shade and I'm going to shade my entire lid with it. And this is just a pretty taupey gray color. Next, I'm going to take that that contour gray color, and I am going to put that in my crease. And then I'm going to blend it. Okay, next I'm going to take that dark charcoal color, and I'm going to use that with a flat small brush, and I'm just going to rub that just above my lash line just to add some nice pretty depth. Feel free to smudge that out if you want it to kind of have a soft edge to it. Using that same brush, I'm going to take that base color and I'm going to just gently line that underneath my bottom lash line. And like I've always said, be sure and connect it with that eyeshadow at the outer corner of the lid. If you don't connect it, it just looks silly. It doesn't look put together. And then feel free to take a smudger brush and smudge under that eyelash just to kind of soften that look. Just gives it a pretty diffused look. And then the very last thing we want to do with this eye look is I'm going to take my big fat brush and I'm going to take that highlighting shade and I'm just going to highlight underneath my brow. This eyeshadow does have some fallout. I realized that with the last look that I did. I had little black specks under here, so be sure and check underneath your eye, and if you want, you can oh, I smeared my lipstick. That's pretty. If you want, you can wait and put your under eye concealer on, which is what I usually do. I do my eye look and then I put my under eye concealer on, and then I smudge out that eyeshadow underneath my bottom lash line, and that way everything is nice and clean. You can also take this lighter shade right here, and the same way I'm cleaning up around this edge right there and just kind of giving it a nice pretty rounded look. You can also do that at the corner of your eye. So if you want to have a little bit more of a straight defined. Now granted, don't do that if you have a deep skin tone, because that's just going to look really ashy on you. But since I have a fair skin tone right now, since it's the middle of winter, it looks fine. You know, I can even take that light color and put it underneath my eye just to add a little bit of a brightening effect. Can't talk today, I'm losing my voice. Okay, so this would actually be the end look, okay? And like, this is totally work appropriate. I would have no problem wearing this to work too. So really all these looks that I've done today are work appropriate. I haven't put any mascara on yet because there's one more thing that I am going to do. And let's say you put this on in the morning and you wear it all day, and this eyeshadow, the formula is good enough that it will wear all day without any issues. I've worn it for 12 hours and haven't had it fade. It looked great after 12 hours. There was a tiny bit of creasing right along my crease because I have hooded eyes. And I did have to take my finger and just kind of work that out a little bit, but then it looked great again. So you could wear this to work, and then this is the whole reason I bought this palette. I wanted a tool. I love silvers. I love silver colors, and I wanted a cool tone silver matte palette, or at least to have some cool tone shades, which is one of the reasons I went to Sephora and bought this for, it was like an extra $5 for this one. It was $15 instead of the 10 at Marshall's, but I knew I would use it for this reason only. So just watch and wait and watch. Okay, this is my Jouer Skinny Dip palette, and it is a foil palette. I am obsessed with foils. I think they are gorgeous. I don't care that I'm 40 years old. I don't care that people probably think I should not be wearing foils. I love them and I'm going to wear them. This is what this palette looks like, and y'all are probably gonna laugh at me because I like to go in and I can't see undertones very well. It's just not something I'm very good at. So I go in and I write the color down, and then I write down what the undertone is. And I got this information off of Christine's website on Temptalia. I think that's how you say it, Temptalia. I will link her website, but I use her website to tell me what the colors are and what the undertone is, and it just makes it easier for me to match my colors. So right here we have this gorgeous cool silver. I had no other eyeshadows that I could wear this with, and so when I bought that quad, it was specifically so I could wear it and do a halo eye or put a wash of this silver all on my eye. So this is how I would wear my eye to work, and let's say I'm gonna go out after work and go out with my colleagues, or let's say I wanna go from a daytime look to an evening look, then I'm gonna take that silver and I'm going to do a pretty little halo eye, and I'll show you what that looks like next. So with these, they apply best with the finger. Most foils tend to apply best with the finger. You can use a brush. I recommend a flat brush like this, and then spray it with some sort of setting spray, and then dip in and put it on. You're gonna get a nice color payoff, but your finger works really well too. And if you want, I'm gonna go grab it. You can put on some glitter glue, and I have the NYX glitter glue, so I'm gonna go grab that. Okay, so this is the NYX glitter glue. And I'm just going to take a tiny dab of this, and I'm going to put it on my finger, and I'm going to rub those fingers together like that. And then I'm just going to dab it right in the middle of my eye. And this is going to grab onto that foiled eyeshadow, and it's going to help keep it from transferring onto my hooded eye. But it's also just going to keep any glitter from falling out, so that you don't end up with glitter raining down on your face all night, because that's no fun. Well, unless you're like at a club, then it would probably be okay, because it would just be pretty. I'm gonna let that dry for just a second, get kind of tacky, not dry completely, but just get a little bit more tacky. I'm gonna wipe my fingers off. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with that silver. I'm just gonna rub it all over my finger. You can see how that is just absolutely one of the most pretty silver I've ever seen in my entire life. It's one of the reasons I had to have this palette, because it's so pretty. And just very gently tap that onto the center of your lid. Oh, that's so beautiful. I love this color. It's so pretty. Oh, that just makes my heart happy. Nobody will ever take my foils away from me. I don't care that I'm 40. I'm gonna wear this until I'm like 80 years old. And then just do the same thing, dip your finger in and put it on your other eye. And then if you want, you can just leave it like that and it's just a very dramatic look. Or you can take a brush and just very gently diffuse it out. Just so it's a little bit less of a harsh edge. And then if you want, you could take this silver color and you could just do an entire wash over your entire lid, and that would be fine, and that would be gorgeous. I mean, that would be fine too. So the last thing to do is put on my Perversion mascara, and then I will show you some other colors from some other palettes that would be beautiful as a halo in this look as well. In case you don't have that, if you don't have a foil silver, you might have one of these colors instead. Okay, and that is your finished look. One of the nice things about having hooded eyes is that I actually could potentially, if I didn't have meetings with important clients, I could actually get away with wearing a look like this. And this is one of the benefits of having hooded eyes, is that it's a peekaboo effect. So if I'm staring straight at you, you don't see a whole lot of that beautiful glittery shimmer, that foiled look. But when I look down, you get a nice little peekaboo effect where all of a sudden you can see that beautiful foiled look. And because of that, pretty much anything I wear is a little more work appropriate than on someone who has, so tired of these allergies. Anything that I wear is going to be, even if it's bright, it's going to be a little more work appropriate, because if I'm looking at you, you don't see anything. It's not until I look down. If I had a wash of a bright color on my eyelid, you're not going to see that until I look down. So there are some benefits to having hooded eyes, I am very happy to say. All right, I'm going to show you some other palettes that you might have. So if you wanted to do this halo eye effect, this is my Lorac 4 palette, and the steel wool is a cool silver. That would be absolutely gorgeous, steel wool. And then also your, what color is that? Fairy Tale. Fairy Tale is a cool blue color, silvery blue, lavender, I think. Actually, I think it's lavender, cool lavender color. And that would be absolutely beautiful if you wanted to use that to do this halo eye. If you have the BH Cosmetic foiled eyes, two beautiful colors would be your silver lavender, which is this color right here. That would be gorgeous for the halo. Or this is a taupe gray, a cool taupe gray. That would be gorgeous too. If you have the Make Believe in Yourself palette, then two colors that would be gorgeous for this halo eye would be Mystic, and that is a cool silver, so that would be lovely. And then also this blue, this is a cool blue color, and it is called Dream. Dream would be really pretty to put in this as a halo eye. If you have Naked by Urban Decay and you want to do a darker, less dramatic halo eye, then your Gunmetal, sorry about that, your Gunmetal would be really pretty to put in there, and it would be, I'll swatch that just so you can see, it's a darker gray color. So right there, it's a dark gray color, but I think it would be absolutely gorgeous to do just a real subtle halo eye with it. And it has some shimmer and some shine to it. I just want to thank you for being here with me. If this was a helpful video to you, please thumbs up it. I'm planning on doing the same thing with the rest of the Kat Von D shadows that I own, and just showing some different looks that you can do with all of those as well. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.